It's time to get after it. I literally did not think that we were going to open the show like that. And that's why I love cold opens, man. Just hit the
Cold
button.
hard open, baby.
Just hit the button and just start talking, man. Because I was about to clown you about your service, but this is what it is, man. But so this week, man, hey, we're probably a little bit later than we used to with the information. So as always, we're gonna update. Oh my goodness, MLB situation with the wild card. First round games have been played. People are already on the brink. We're going to catch everything up with that. We're going to jump and dive back in with week 5 and the shenanigans, constant shenanigans going on in the NFL, and take a look at week 6 and some beautiful matchups and some stuff to talk about in week 6. And I think we might spend some heavy time in there because there has been some stuff happening. But before we do that, I got a jump off question for you, man. I'll give you some time to think, man. I'm gonna ramble for a second, man.
Okay, let's go.
We had some stuff going on this week in the NFL, and it's been a conversation before. How do you feel, man, nowadays when you see players take huge hits, man, and have these like visible injuries that you see? And how should and how do we look at and react to big hits, concussions, and now how do we look at fools who get out early and say, I'm gonna retire early before I end up in a wheelchair, before they start having physical problems, versus how we think about it back in the day? Okay, so I
like it. I can deal with that.
Yeah, did fans get soft, or is this fake outrage? Because it is what it is. So let's get into it.
So I love that question, homie. I like it. I'm glad you brought that up because you remember the old school Crunch Course videos, right? You buy a Sports Illustrated issue, right, or whatever, or subscription, and then you get the HBO Hard Knocks, Crush Knock, or
NFL now it's Hard Greatest Knocks. Hits.
NFL Greatest Hits. Crunch Course is what it's called,
Crunch
right? Was what it's called.
Or Crunch Collision Course, Crunch Course.
No, I think it was Crunch Course. And if my mind is correct, and I could not wait to see the Crunch Course videos.
Yeah,
and everybody wanted that because you would get it with your subscription to whatever it was.
It was SI.
I believe it was SI. Yeah, SI for
Sports
sure.
Illustrated.
So you with those and you go back and you watch all those and you want those as a kid to see those of what's going on. That's the way you get these all football players. I guarantee you, well, probably not now, but 10, 15 years ago, those kids that were playing in the NFL saw that. Yep. So in your question of, how do we react to those big hits and concussions, retiring early to avoid physical problems now versus before, and then our fans getting soft? I don't, there's a million different ways you can go about this, right?
Okay.
You can look at our fans getting soft because, thinking these players are getting injured and they're leaving because of no reason, right?
Yeah. They're talking
because they're a hardcore
violent
football fan, right? They want to be, they're old school. They want to see those Crunch Course videos. They want to see the Mike Singletary going into the hole and popping somebody, or Ray Lewis or whoever.
Yeah, but now people are looking at it going, I don't want to see that.
And you know what? And I don't blame them in that way either.
But they used to love it. These are the same people that used to love it. Sometimes
I don't know if it's the same people though, homie.
Sometimes I look at some of these hits too, and I go, oh shit, man, because I'm just like you. I'm telling you, I know the name of the video I saw. 1988, NFL's Greatest Hits. I'm telling you, it had all the Deacon Jones, the old shit, because they went back in this one. And they used to, when the clothesline was legal, they didn't give a shit about nobody at that time. It was life and limb. The adequacy of the equipment wasn't even up to par yet. Look at how huge the pads were in the 60s, 70s, and 80s versus these little Pop Warner pads that they use now. And these athletes are like figure
ginormous.
Right. So,
not just the bulked up heavy guys. These are ginormous muscle guys.
Individuals. Yes. Everybody is a huge individual. You take Russell Wilson and stand him next to Ken Stabler. And even though you look at Russell Wilson like he's a kind of a flabby kind of guy, he probably is like an Adonis next to Ken Stabler or Bob Greasy. You see what I'm saying? And these dudes were taking amazing hits and playing in elements that we've never seen before. We're talking about the old guys who played in the ice bowl and shit and couldn't get their hands in circulation and shit right. And I got to fight for all of their, retirement benefits and things like that. I didn't want to cut you off, but I'm the reason why I jumped in is because I think I am one of those people that look at it a little bit different, because I kind of go like, yo, damn, especially when it's not something that's a hit, because I still love a good hit, but my reaction is different. Sometimes now when you used to go, oh, that's a hit, get his ass.
Yeah.
Now I go, oh shit, that dude is dead. It's a different reaction. You see how it's subtle, but it's a different reaction. It's like, oh shit, that dude is dead. Did you see Nyheim Hines after the first play of the game? That little
nope,
kick
I
out?
missed that.
You didn't see the clip of it? Okay.
Nope, I missed it.
You have to see the clip of it, because if you think Tua was bad, because this all conversation rehashed again, starting with the Tua timeline. Okay, so let's start off with the Tua timeline, then I'm gonna pick back up with Nyheim Hines. Tua gets hit on day one, plays it off, and he claims that it's a back injury, and that was the reason why he was a little shaky. He had a little stinger in the back, and they didn't check him out for his back. They didn't check him out for a concussion. They just say, you're good. He finishes the game, they win. Good. Bang. Next game, he's out. Wow. He's out of it visibly this time. Okay. Then fast forward, you put his replacement in, Teddy Bridgewater, first series of the game. Boom, he's out. And they go hard. They pull his ass, won't even let him play this week. Overreaction. Because in the middle of that, Nyheim Hines catches a little wheel pass out of the backfield, like a screen, and he gets lit up. And he gets up, and I'm talking about he was full baby deer. Like his legs were like, he was like, but it was only him. He was up on his own power, but everything was Glass Joe, bro. So when you look at that, that looks scary, man, because you have to consider what these are men. These are men.
I agree with you 100%. And you have to look at, there's a bunch of different ways you can look at. There's a fucking a 1, 2, and a 3, A, B, and a C, and you could look at it all different ways, right? You got to look at the guy and how they get up and they're a gamer and they want to go back in. Absolutely. And then you have to protect that player from himself, because they're all athletes. They're all what do you call it? They are all dogs, and they all want to get back in there, right? Yeah. And then there's also the aspect of it is the team management part of it is where, okay, we're talking about like sitting out 2 or 3 weeks. All these team management people want them to play and want them to go in because that's their best way of winning a game. Winning, right? So I don't disagree with the aspect of it. Of now, yes, of course, I look at it different as well. And at the same time, now there's so much more medicine involved and so much more doctors involved, so much more of the aspect. It's just like analytics in any play in across any sports. Analytics involved, and now there's doctors involved in the concussion protocol. You have to make sure that these players, you have to protect these players from themselves.
All right, but what happens when the doctor and the people that are on your side supposed to be protecting yourself have interests? Because the team has now told you're supposed to be independent doctor, right? They always make sure that they use the phrase independent doctor on the sideline in the red caps that they refer to, because they want to make sure. But there was an issue with this independent doctor over here, and there have been documented issues with these so-called independent doctors. Ask your homeboy Tyrod Taylor. Okay, there's been problems with independent doctors. And there was one in this situation too, because they have some interest in there too. Maybe they're getting backdoored a little bit of change here and there too. But think about this, man. There was a lot through these years. Remember back in the day when we saw in the greatest hits era, Joe Theismann get his leg broke by Lawrence Taylor live on TV. I saw live, Mike Utley never be the same ever again against the LA Rams. Okay. Y'all remember Mike Utley, Detroit Lions O
Oh,
lineman that
Lyman,
was,
yeah.
yeah, never was the same ever again, never walked after that. You
Yep.
have, and you got, and then what happened to Bo Jackson, and that was in a play.
Yep.
Okay. So, you know what I mean? It's a lot of that. I mean, look at you. Are we supposed to be mad at Patrick Willis now? Are we supposed to be mad at Andrew Luck? You know what I'm saying?
No, and I like that
And Barry
question too,
Sanders
homie.
and that. You know what I
I
mean?
like that question too, because after we covered all those other things, then you got to think about it in the whole aspect of exactly one of your questions was, you know, are retiring early and avoiding physical problems
Yeah.
now
Are you mad at
versus
them?
before, because it's your team and you feel, not you personally, I'm just saying
Right. But we're
in an
saying the royal
aspect,
you. Yeah.
yeah, you put it out there because your team and Andrew Luck retires. Are
I'm
you
pissed.
are you pissed because of the fact that Andrew Luck retires because he's the greatest quarterback or a good quarterback and he only played
Hell
what? How
yeah.
long did he play? 5 years? Yeah.
I can't remember, but it wasn't long
Yeah,
enough.
you are mad because that was your token to the Super Bowl, right? Because he's a
That
great
was the
quarterback.
rebuild. That was my
However,
rebuild.
nowadays, these guys get paid a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these guys, in my opinion, and just
Mm-hmm.
from my personal, like me, get
Right.
paid all this money to play. Yes, retire when it's you want to retire. They know the repercussions, and I'm not putting it on them. I'm not saying that, hey, if you get hurt, then it's your own fault. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
that retire when you want to retire. The injury aspect of it. However, if it was me, I'd get my money and I'd have to get out. I'd have to get out no matter how much I love the game. I'd have to get out because it just seems like everybody is bigger and stronger
Right.
and they're getting more hellacious. Even though how no matter how bad you want to protect the game and protect the players, it's not getting any better because now you have to go through concussion protocol. Tua's been
Mm-hmm.
out this week, last week, this week. He'll be out maybe
Right.
next week.
Now you might be a
And
detriment to your team.
yeah, and now who knows what's going to happen with Tua
Mm-hmm.
for that aspect of it. So it's an interesting saga, but I don't blame them. Get your money, get what you need to do, and that is another reason why the NFL should have guaranteed money, in my opinion.
Yeah, the NFL should be the number one sport that should have guaranteed money. Yes, I am very mad as the fan of the retiring early
So
because you
speaking
are
of,
stunting our chances for growth in my fandom, for us to next level this up to where we can get to championship heights in terms of our city and
right,
whatever we bringing to this. Now, as a man, I have absolutely no problem with Andrew Luck doing what he has to do. He spent his almost adult life and probably great parts of his youth
right.
preparing all this time for this. And I'm going to tell you like this: if you spend your time to go number one, I don't give a damn if you Josh Rosen. Okay, if you go overall number one or Tom Marinovich or any of them dudes, Jamarcus Russell, you put in all the work to go number one, and they give you the paper. Take the paper, whether you
Mm-hmm.
perform for it or not. Don't feel guilty about having the paper. Take the paper. You deserved it. You worked mad hard for it. Okay, but what we're asking is, we would hope that you would give us what is a fair exchange for money given for quality services rendered. And a lot of times what happens is we feel like we get shorted, I think.
Okay, first of all, I feel you on that. However, it's not up to us. It's not us as in our team. It is the person
Yeah,
and the organization who should demand that and respect
absolutely.
that.
You're
So it is,
absolutely
I
right.
see where you're coming from, homie. I see
No,
where you're
I
coming
think you're
from.
right.
However, it is not us, as we are fans of all these teams and we want
Mm-hmm.
so and so to do great no matter what team
Just
that
good
you're on.
shows. Just
And you
good
want them to
shows.
show out and show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is not up to us, but to close it out on that aspect of it, I think we made some good points there. I think everybody should listen to this and should understand the points that we just made, because it's coming from all aspects. It's coming from a fan base. It's coming from the man base. It's coming from the organization base at the same time. But I do want to ask you one thing before we close out this subject of the jump off show right here.
Go ahead.
How bougie ass were those excuse me, those roughing the passer penalties this weekend? Speaking of coddling players and seeing how they're done, and versus the crunch course videos back in the day in the 70s, 80s, and before. You got the Tom Brady, Grady Jarrett fiasco where he literally just tackled him. And then
we gotta hold off on giving the NFL highlights. I mean, we could get into that. The last word I have on that is, man, get the money, because you never know whether they will cut you, and your career could be very
correct.
Short.
Yep.
So whatever money you get is the money that you get. If you get out of there early, whatever, how long as you gave fair exchange, quality service for quality cash given, man. So hey, it's always fun when we can chop it up and we can get really lathered up before we fire up into the MLB.